So, hello everybody and welcome back to VDRL. Today we're here at Jeddah in Saudi Arabia for the Tier 2 finale. So, it's gonna be a sprint weekend, a lot longer than usual, a lot more points up for grabs than usual. So, um, we will maybe be doing some pre-race interviews, I don't know yet, but let's check out the previous race results. So we have Meshu winning the race after penalties. Uh, we saw Sam getting 15 seconds worth of penalties after the race, which demoted him down all the way to P5. Not the best for him, but that means Infinity went up into the podium spots and the other Red Bull of UK Ethan into P2. Now let's check out the standings with Meshu is the champion of VDRL. He clinched that last race in Austria, but we can still see Red Bull winning the Constructors' Championship if Ferrari and Meshu don't score a lot of points, maybe not even any points. We'll have to see about that in the sprint race and in the main race. Now let's go really quick and invite everyone to the lobby. Okay. Okay. So now let's see who else still needs an invite to this session. And just another one. Okay. So there will not be any pre-race interviews, but there will be post-race interviews. But now we're going to be heading on for the sprint qualifying session any second now. Just waiting for one more person to join and then we can start. Okay. Okay. So we will be heading underway for the sprint qualifying session, sorry, any moment now. So let's check out the previous qualifying results to see who may be at the front this time as well. Meshu, like always, strongly in P2 this time, just 13 thousandths behind UK Ethan, who ended up taking pole position in the Red Bull team. Then Infinity in the P3 position for Kick Sauber. Akehor, our previous commentator during season 2, in the Mercedes taking P4. Then Sam in the second Red Bull taking P5, where he ended up finishing the race after penalties as well. Then DMAG qualifying in P6, the Irishman, with a fellow Irishman right next to him with Jablinski in P7. Then we have Young Victim from United Kingdom, racing for the Aston Martin outfit, taking P8 in the last qualifying session. Then we have Enzo in the Ferrari, Curly in the sister Red Bull team. In P11 we have Harry in the Mercedes. Then P12 we had Justin in the second kick Sauber, quite away from his teammate. Then we had Louis Hammy in the Mercedes, taking P3 in the Aston Martin, taking P13. Zero in the McLaren, taking P14. Fun fact, he was the only driver to not get a single penalty last race. Then we had in P15 Barca Boy for the Haas outfit, and with no time set, Sir Norris in P16. So now we're going to be heading underway for the qualifying session for the sprint race. So, as we can see, it is dry conditions. Drivers should be peeling out of the pits any moment now. We had the real Formula 1 qualifying session not too long ago. Very dramatic if you guys watched that. Yuki Tsunoda flipping upside down but landing thankfully back upright the position. And Franco Colapinto also crashing. So let's see what will happen in this sprint qualifying session for VDRL Tier 2, the season finale. We see drivers peeling out of the pits now. Let's see the Ferrari of Louis Hammy with a different name in F1 now heading out, the first one out, and everyone just peeling out of the pits now. Couple drivers on the mediums, couple drivers on the softs. There's only one soft compound of tires in this session, so you better use it wisely, and these drivers are preferring to take it for the first lap. If I was them, I would start on the mediums and then go on the softs at the end of the session, but we'll have to see what they can do. Of course, they are driving, not me. They know better. So, now, let's go for the first lap with Louis Hammy. Let's go on board with him. Here he is. So, warming his tires here on the final sector. Maybe playing on keyboard? We see he has some very weird steering, but let's see. He's starting his lap now on non-ERS at the moment, but he turns on to hot lap and now going across the line to start his lap. Let's see it from the broadcast view. Now going down into turn 1. Hits the apex nicely and hits the second apex very nicely there, flowing out wide to use the whole track. Now we see a yellow flag there in the back. What is that? Is just Infinity starting a lap? Well, let's watch Infinity on his lap. Well, at least let's see the start of it so we can see Meshu in the Ferrari, the championship winner, finishing his lap, and then we head back to Infinity. So clean couple of first corners, better than the Meshu's teammate in the Ferrari, reserving for them of course. Going through this fast S section now, have to pin it to the ground here almost flat out. You could take this flat out, but it's very hard. As we can see, Infinity taking it almost perfectly. So let's see on board with Meshu, who's just starting his lap. My mistake. As we see Enzo spinning and hitting the wall, getting wing damage here. What has happened there? As he maybe impedes a bit the Williams driver, but that was a big shunt. Not good for him, but he is on the medium compound of tires. He can come back on the softs, fix his wing. It's good that not his car is fully broken. So now Meshu on the medium compound of tires on his lap. Let's head on board with him as his teammate goes to P1 with a 133.495. So Meshu now going into sector 2 as we see Curly going up into provisional pole position with a 131.6 as his teammate slots into P2. Visa Cash FRB 1-2 at the moment. His teammate just 0.6 of a second behind him, but they're both on the soft compound of tires. Let's see what Meshu can do here on the medium compound of tires, going as close to the wall as he can, only down to 7th gear. Maybe wants some stability in the rear of his car. Now Zero goes to provisional pole position on the medium compound of tires for 129.4, 2 seconds clear of the field. So let's see what Meshu can do. Can he improve on that? Can he beat Zero, as we see Jablinski also slotting into P2? So going up to the line now, Meshu with the medium compound of tires goes P1, only 1/10 of a second ahead of Zero for the moment. So let's see if anyone else is finishing their lap. We see Akahor finishing his lap up to the line. Where does he go? He goes up to P2, only 75 thousandths behind Meshu. Great effort for him. We'll have to see what they can all do on the soft compound of tires later on in the session. Now you can see everyone's on their cooldown laps. Maybe we can see, yes, Harry, Akahor's teammate, finishing his lap. Where can he go with this lap? No ERS left. All of the deploy used now with the DRS wide flap open. Where does he go? He goes P4, a Mercedes 2.4, but he is 1.7 seconds behind his teammate in P2. So we see Curly boxing into the pit, as we see Vasa has had a big moment on the final corner of the track. It's all good. He was on his in lap, so that shouldn't be too much of a worry for him. Now we see a yellow flag. Can we see what is there? Maybe just a driver letting by another driver. Yes, I think it's just Jablinski warming his tires to go for another lap. So Zero peeling into the pits. Now Meshu, will he start on a lap or will he peel into the pits? We'll have to see. We see D-Mag in the garage. Then Young Victim on his out lap. Infinity on his out lap. Will Meshu box? No, Meshu is starting another lap. So let's see. Let's head on board with Meshu for his second try on this medium compound of tires. Going down into turn, down to 3rd gear. Hits the apex nicely. Just maybe a tiny bit wide though. Now going up the gears into this fast and flowy section of the track. You need to have it pinned down here. This can make or break your lap. Let's see what Meshu can do for us here. Now taking it flat out through all of these corners. Just a tiny lift there. And he has a pretty big slide there, but he does manage to save it. Let's see, he is just a little bit down on his personal best. This can be reaching him further up to the timetable, bringing the times down. Let's see what he can do in the second sector. Now going into this big corner. This is crucial, the exit for this big long straight of the DRS, as he has a bit of a moment in the middle of the corner. Now using his battery to maybe make up for that moment. The DRS flap wide open. How far back is he on the second sector compared to his first lap? He's a 10th up, almost a 10th up. Nails that corner, just maybe a bit wide, but let's see what he can do here. Going into the final sector, going into the final corner of the track. ERS very low. Now gonna be going down the gears on the 50-meter board, going down to 3rd gear, hits the apex nicely. Now going back up the gears, DRS is gonna be open. ERS is gonna be getting used as he peels into the pits. Maybe not the best final corner for him. He wants to abort that lap. So Akahor 0 on an out lap. Jablinski 7.5 tenths up. Where does he go with this lap? It will be enough for P4. Only 7 tenths behind Meshu now, improving for him. Nice improvements. We'll have to see what he can do later on in the soft compound of tires. Now Curly on his out lap, Bass on his out lap, Meshu's teammate on his out lap. The both of the McLarens still staying in the pits, not wanting to go out. Only 4 minutes left in the session. They will have to go for a last lap wonder. Now we see Infinity on board with him, going down into the final corner of the track on the medium compound of tires. Where can he go with this lap? Down into 2nd gear, hits the apex nicely. Now up the gears, using some of his battery, using the DRS flap. Now he going up to the line. He goes to P3 with that effort. Only a 10th separating the top 4. This is very close here. Now Infinity will have to push if he wants to bolt on a set of soft tires for the end. But now let's see if anyone else is starting their lap. Now Zero in the Red Bull in P4. This could be a contender for pole position. Let's see his lap here. Starting his lap now. Maybe even a bit of a tow from the Visa Cash App RB, the sister Red Bull team. Let's hope he doesn't get impeded, since we do see they are quite a bit of pace down from him. But let's see what Zero can do on this lap. Now clambers over the first turn of the curb, going nice and wide out of that corner right next to the wall. Now going into this medium speed corner, nails it. Let's go on board with him in this fast section of the track. Have to take this almost flat out. This can make or break your lap, like we said before. He lives quite a bit there. Now, where does he go with this first sector compared to his first lap? He's 7/10 up. This would be an amazing lap. This would put him 6/10 clear of the field. What can he do here, as we see a Visa Cash App RB behind him having a big moment? Maybe a spin on those fast corners. Now Zero down to 4th gear. Now back up the gears. Maybe even a bit of impeding. He needs to overtake this Visa Cash App. This could ruin his lap. He needs to use the ERS. This will be very crucial for his lap. He's gonna have to brake early to not get impeded. As we see the Visa getting the wall. What has happened there? What has happened there? What? Zero putting the pressure on, but he's a second up on his Delta going into the final corner. This is going to be a provisional pole position lap in a second clear, so that here is how strong the soft tires are. He goes up to the line to P1 by 1 second from Meshu. Now anyone can still improve. Let's see if anyone's on lap. Akahor improves, but he's still 3/10 behind Zero in P1. P2, solid effort for Akahor. Now Meshu gonna be starting his lap. Is anyone on a lap at the moment? So Beeful, the McLaren, starting his lap. D-Mag also starting his lap. He could be a contender for pole position. We will have to see later. But now let's head on board with Meshu on his lap. He is a second down on Zero. But remember, he's on the softs. What can he do now? Going into this fast speed part of the track, he takes it much better than Zero from what I'm seeing. Fully flat out through that whole section, and he is 4/10 of a second up, not as much as Zero was. He was 7/10 of a second up, so he has to nail these final 2 sectors, Meshu, if he wants to take away that pole position from Zero in the Red Bull. The Red Bull is in contention for the Constructors' Championship, so Meshu needs to nail this, as he has a bit of a moment in that corner, but he's going right next to the wall. Where can he go with this lap? Using the DRS now, going in to this last sector of the track. He's 6/10 up. He needs to nail this if he wants to take pole position perfectly through that corner. Maybe even a bit of slipstream from the McLaren ahead of him he's gonna get. Yes, he's getting the slipstream. This could be a pole position lap. Where will Meshu go? Going into the final corner now. Slipstream from the McLaren ahead of him. He's gonna go now, heading up the gears with the ERS and the DRS. Where does Meshu go with this lap? He takes P2, only 2/10 behind Zero. That is not enough. Who else is on the lap? That maybe a contention. Harry goes up into B7. Now let's see D-Mag in the McLaren. Where does he go? D-Mag only to 5th position, a second behind Zero. As we see Zero taking pole position for the season finale here in VDRL of Tier 2. Amazing effort by him, closing out these final stages of the sprint qualifying session. Now, let's see what will happen in the sprint. Of course, remember, there's still going to be another qualifying session for us later on that will be happening after the sprint race. So, let's see what will happen. So we see the final qualifying results here. Zero taking pole position with Meshu just behind him and Akahor in P3. Here's the rest of the field. Beefle, the only driver to not set a lap, which will mean he will be starting in dead last for the McLaren outfit. So now we will be heading underway for the race any moment now. So now, any second now, we will be starting. So, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights, and the lights go out. Poor reaction time from Meshu, but can he snatch away? Will Zero Meshu going down the inside? They're going side by side now, but Zero keeps the position going in to turn 2. Now a bit of contact there as we see D-Man going a bit wide and going dropping down the positions. Big contact there at the back. What has happened there for D-Mag? Horrible start for him, and he has massive wing damage. This is a horrible place for him. Now as we see another yellow flag as his teammate Beefle has crashed as well. This is horrible for both of the McLarens. But now, let's resume with the battle at the front. Zero already pulling a 6/10 gap out front. Now we see Agahor threatening Meshu for P2 on track. He wants to get that second position, and he wants to threaten for the win. Can he do it? Now Meshu pulled away a bit of a gap. So, the two McLarens having horrible starts. Sad for them. But now, can Young Victim put the pressure on to the Alpine in P6? Can he try and overtake him? Let's go on board with him. Going into the final corner of the track. He won't be close enough. So now, let's go back to the leading pack. Will anyone go for a move? Akahor just 0.3 of a second behind Meshu. DRS will be activated this lap now. As we see Akahor having a big moment as he's ghosting because of that slope, but he still keeps the position in P3. Now we see Meshu is putting the pressure onto Zero for P1. Meshu going just a bit wide, maybe struggling on tires already. But we see D-Mag sliding into P12 now, overtaking the Ferrari who goes down the inside. What was that? That was a horrible move by the Ferrari. Very unclean. As we said, that Ferrari was the same driver who took D-Mag out in the last race. This is horrible for D-Mag, and that will definitely be into the stewards. So, let's see real quick. Okay. So, let's go back to the leading fight. They will have DRS any moment now. Yes, we see the DRS flap open wide. Now will Meshu go for a move onto Zero? He will have the DRS here. As we see, getting some penalties in the back as we see. Beefle and the Ferrari has retired from the session. Maybe, I'm thinking Beefle maybe took him out to help his teammate. What has happened here for Infinity? He was just in battle. Maybe he had a big moment. He's 2 seconds behind. But yeah, not what you want to see in this type of race. But of course, there will still be the normal race. So now, Meshu will be going down the inside, but no, he's staying behind him. Now, only the top 3 are within DRS of each other for the win. Now, we see Jablinski catching up to Infinity because he had a bit Big moment as we see a yellow flag as Curly into the wall. A big crash there. Maybe gonna be a safety car, but I don't think there's gonna be one. But that was a massive crash, and you don't want to see that stuff happening in this race. Now already 3 people out on the first 3 laps of the race. This is chaos so far. 1 person out per 1 lap. So let's see what will happen later on. Now everyone in the top 3 just staying patient for now. We see an overtake between Vasa and Lesson Boy. They're going now into this fast corner before the DRS straight. Vasa going very deep, almost hitting into Lesson Boy. Now will Akahor go for the move on Meshu? He can't keep waiting around if he wants to win this race. He needs to overtake Meshu now. Let's see, will he try to go for the move? He has the ERS, but he's not using it. He's staying back for the moment. Maybe he doesn't want to lose DRS to 0 out in front. But now he's gonna go for the move around the outside for Meshu into turn 1. Now he slots ahead of Meshu into P2, and that is crucial for the race here. He will have a shot at overtaking 0 later in the lap. Maybe even here, because everyone is just so close to each other right now. You see Vasa getting a 3-second penalty for multiple warnings. Not what you want to see. See D-Mag here. And last due to wing damage, and unlucky for him, but he will try to bounce back later on. As you see a yellow flag, what has happened there? A big crash between Vasa and Leston Boy, as Leston Boy DNFs. What is happening here? This is not what you want to see. Already 4 people out, and it's the 4th lap. It's still going 1 DNF per lap. This is a very not clean race, just what I'm gonna say, but we'll have to see what the stewards think about it. Everyone just, I guess, taking their chances. It is the season finale. What are you gonna do? But now Meshu's struggling, maybe a bit of battery. Akahor having the most battery out of everyone here. Now he maybe will go for a move on to 0 into turn 1 here. Let's go on board with him. He has the ERS. He will have the DRS. Will he try to overtake 0? 0 is draining his battery from what we can see. Maybe just a tiny bit. But Akahor lifting to stay behind 0. Maybe some strategic play going into this. We see the young victim and Jablinski fighting for as we see him getting spun around by the Alpine. Very big incident here. Not what you want to see. A lot of incidents happening here, and this track is proving to be quite difficult to race on for these drivers. This is of course tier 2 as we see a DNF. What has happened there? Now D-Mag will see. Yeah, maybe just retire on track. As we see D-Mag having a big moment there, but yeah, already 5 people, no, 6 people DNF, and it's the 5th lap. What is happening? As we see, Zero pulled the 2nd gap to Akahor. This is some carnage, this race here. These drivers did not be suiting well to this track, but now bigger gaps between these 2 drivers. Now will Jablinski try and go for a move on Infinity for P4. They have both similar amounts of battery. Now race has calmed down a bit. Everyone, especially Meshu, running low on their battery. You see Akahor going very wide, locking up the tires there and losing some time to 0. Thankfully he does have the DRS to repay for that. Okay. So now, only about 3 laps left, just a bit more than that in this sprint race before we head on to the main qualifying session. Akahor will be maybe looking for a move on Zero anytime now. Let's head on board with him. He is using non-DRS, probably trying to recharge. Looking to try and overtake Zero on the final lap of the race, but he is pulling a massive gap to Meshu behind, already 1.2 seconds. And that means Meshu is out of DRS and maybe even out of contention for the win if he doesn't get back into DRS very soon. Now we see Infinity and Yablinski still squabbling over that P4. Yablinski getting up into P4 now. Infinity going wide there, going wide again. But maybe it's all part of the plan to get a better exit than Yablinski out of this corner. And he has a lot of VRS to play with here. But now let's head back to the battle out in front. Akahor just 1 cent behind Zero. Will he go for the move here? Now going into the DRS section. Zero goes a bit wide. Akahor will be having the better exit. More ERS and the DRS. Zero only having 50% battery left. Akahor going for the move around the outside into this corner. What will happen here? Zero backs out of it and lets Akahor get that first place position. That will mean Meshu is almost back into DRS here. Now will Zero go for a move and try to retake his lead? No, he will stay behind and try to maybe retake it on the next lap or on the final lap. Now Infinity recharging his battery, playing a bit of DRS chicken. He is here. Wants to have the DRS for this next upcoming straight. He will be bolting on the ERS. Now the DRS wing wide open, going on over the line. And now will he go for the move? No, he's recharging his battery and staying behind. Now Meshu just on the brink of DRS behind Akahor. He needs to push, he needs to get into this DRS. He wants to have any play, even for P2, nonetheless the win. Now he's barely in that DRS, but they seem to be gaining a lot on him on this fast speed corners. Half a second there. That is some very big gaps. He lost 7/10 in the second sector alone. Maybe this is why he's struggling. Maybe just a lack of downforce. But let's see, will Akahor, who we didn't see this, but he got re-overtaken by Zero. We didn't see this. As we see D-Mag with the softs taking the fastest lap. That won't be a point either way since there's only points for the main race. But it's still a good effort to take fastest lap. Now Zero and Akahor squabbling, going on to the final lap any moment now for the win here in the sprint of the season finale here in VDRL. Now both struggling on the battery. Zero having a bit more to play with on the 70% and Akahor only on 40%, but he will most likely be recharging it. No, he's going for the overtake on Zero into turn 1. He doesn't want to play around. Maybe he wants to recharge his ERS ahead of him now. We see Meshu just behind them, not in contention for this win anymore unless they have a big crash. So now Zero on 70% battery, and he's gonna have the DRS. I don't know how Akahor can win this unless he pulls some ERS. Like, he needs the ERS badly right now, or he needs to somehow. Unless we see Zero going very wide. Thankfully not a track limit penalty. Keeping it clean so far this race, unlike some other drivers. Not going to name any names. Sorry. So yeah, staying back Zero is. Now Akahor going on. He had a poor exit compared to Zero. Zero going to have the DRS open, but he's most likely going to try and stay back to get the DRS for the next straight. Yeah, he's lifting, playing DRS chicken here. They really both want the win so badly, but now Zero has a DRS. He's using the ERS. D-Mag, we see retire from the session, but now, more importantly, Zero going for the move on Akahor. Akahor not having any ERS to play with. He has to go down the inside now, going side by side. Zero getting out wide now. A photo finish here. but Zero is going to win in the sprint race. Akahor just didn't have enough ERS left, and Zero also had the DRS. Congrats to Zero on the win. Akahor slotting into P2, Meshu in P3, continuing his great form, but just not enough for the win now. Infinity taking P4 after that long battle with Jablinski, who ended up in P5. Then Harry for the Mercedes outfit in P6. In the Alpine, it's Flame taking P7. And to round out the final point, it's going to be the Aston Martin Avenzo taking P8, while everybody else did not finish the session. A very eventful race there. Let's hope to have some more clean battles in the main race. But now we're going to be heading on to the Grand Prix qualifying. So now we see everyone peeling out of the pits for this main qualifying session. 18 minutes on the board. So now, for this qualifying session, we see the Ferrari retiring from the session since he does have a qualifying ban for a big incident last race. Yeah. So now, both of the Visa Cash App Racing Bulls are the first ones to be starting their laps. The first one is Vasa and the second one is Curly. Now, let's put on some settings. So, let's head on board with the other Visa. As we see a yellow flag. Am I blind? Can I not? Okay. Yeah. So let's watch Vasa, the first one who's going to finish his lap here for the last qualifying session of Season 3 here in VDRL. Now let's head on board with him going in this fast corner before the big long straight. With the DRS, as he goes a bit wide there, having rear instability in the car. We see Leston Boy getting a 5-place grid penalty for a collision with young victim. Not what he wants to see. What is this Aston Martin doing? Fully impeded Vasa there. Who was that? Young victim. That has to be a qualifying ban if he's gonna compete next season. But now, let's see with Vasa for this final corner. Now, he's gonna be the first driver to go across the line. Now, we see a big yellow flag there. What has happened here? Leston Boy going up really wide. But now Vasa, top of the timing sheets with a 131.4. But we know a lot of drivers can go faster than that. Akehor going to P1 with a 128.9. The only driver so far to get into the 128s, if I'm not mistaken. Amazing effort by him. Jablinski slotting into P2 with a 129.8 as Zero goes to provisional pole position with a 128.4. He is continuing his great form from the last qualifying session and from the win he just took. Very good. 1-2 are just as the sprint race results were. Now we see a yellow flag. So, Egor just 5.5 tenths behind Zero. We see Enzo slotting into P4. Now, we see a yellow flag here. Maybe Jablinski was the one who had a big moment. Can't see exactly who that was. But now, Meshu finishing his lap. Where does he go with this effort? He goes to P2. Not enough. 5 tenths of a second behind Zero. That was a good effort, but Zero seems to be in another league, but maybe he's on the soft tire compound of tires. Let's see really quick. No, Zero is also on the mediums, just like Meshu. Zero is absolutely flying this race. Meshu just not finding the pace at the moment. He needs to step it up if he wants to win this race. He needs to get a good qualifying position here. He did qualify P2 in the sprint race, so let's see what he can do later in the session. Now, Beeful, D-Max teammate in the background going really wide, but not an invalidation from what I am seeing. But let's see what he can do now, going in the final sector. He needs to get a good lap here. Of course, McLaren RP3 in the Constructors' Championship. Now, we see Curly retired from this session in that infamous corner where a lot of drivers have hit the wall, at least in F1 sim racing. Yeah, but we see Beefle going all across the line to take P8. 4 seconds behind Zero. That is not the best effort, but let's see his teammates, who is using no ERS. Maybe he's trying to just recharge battery. Maybe he had a mistake on his lap, and now he's going to try and go again. So, let's see what D-Mac can do if he's going to try and do a lap now. Going as close as he can to the apex. Maybe a bit of shambles, but D-Mac will be peeling into the pits. See Jablinski up on his lap time, but he had a big moment going through that corner. This will impact his lap for the worse, but he seems to be the only one on a flying lap at the moment. So let's head on board with him in this flying very fast corners. These corners, in my opinion, don't even count as corners. Fully flat out on any car, probably. Then Jablinski, we see him going down to third gear, missing the apex just a tiny bit, but now going up to the line. Where does he go with this effort? He peels into the pits at the very last second. Maybe a bit late going into the pits, but it is just a qualifying session, so shouldn't be a problem. But a lot of people now heading out on track. Zero on his out lap. Now Ahor is gonna be starting his lap, so let's see what he can put down here. He is in contention for pole position, but he needs to improve a lot here with the soft tires. Now going across the line to start his lap, Gonna be going down the gears, hitting the apex very nicely there, clambering over both of the curbs in turn 1 and turn 2. Now flowing out just wide, right next to the wall, going in to turn 4 now. Going down to 4th gear, this turn has caught out a couple of drivers so far in this session. Want to name it Curly. So now going to this fast speed S's, just a tiny lift through there. Now on to 8th gear, now going back down the gears, medium speed corner here, just going down the throttle a little bit there, but now going in to this final stretch of corners, going into the final sector now. Fast speed corner, he nails that corner, goes right up against the wall after the corner. Now the DRS flap will be wide open. We see a yellow flag, but let's see what Egehor can set down. Yellow flag is cleared very quickly. Now going to this final corner, 6/10 up. Now this would be a provisional pole position lap. Let's see what Egehor can do here. Going on to the final corners of the racetrack. He will be going down the gears any moment now. He's very low on the battery. But can this take pole position? It will be quite a margin. He needs to nail this final corner. Where will he go? Going up to the line. Egehor goes to P1 by 2.5 tenths of a gap. That is an amazing lap by him. Almost getting into the 127s. We'll see if anyone can do that as he spins wide after his lap. Well, it doesn't matter. He set the lap. That's all that matters now. Very good effort by him. Now 0 in P2, improving by 2 tenths. This is almost enough to get him back into provisional pole position after it was just snatched away from him. Can he go there? Can he increase his gap? He has amazing qualifying pace so far, taking sprint pole. So going now into the final sector, how much is he improving by? He's improving by a massive only 1/10. I thought it was going to be more than that, but he needs to nail this final sector if he wants to take his provisional pole position and maybe even stretch it to a 127. So now, let's head on board with him. Low on battery, just like Egehor was. Braking very late, hitting the apex nicely. Now going to be going back up the gears, using his battery, using his DRS. Where will 0 go with this lap? P1! 80,000 ahead of Egehor, just under a tenth, a 128.0. But now the P3 man improving by a tenth. It won't be enough. He needs to nail these final 2 sectors. Meshu hitting the wall even just a bit on exit there. We see a yellow flag in the back, but it doesn't matter here. Meshu, he needs to nail this. Now going on to this fast corner before the DRS, only 1/10 up. This doesn't seem like this will be a lap for anything. From what I'm seeing, he will improve his lap, but not his position. He doesn't seem to have the pace now. He's like Aston Martin in 2024 as he backs out of the lap. Not worth it to finish it for him, he thinks. But now young Victim in P5 on his lap. Where can he put this car? Can he even overtake Meshu if he nails this lap? Right up against the wall now. Going very close to the wall as he's getting a very nice tow from the Alpine driver. Now going on a very beautiful tow. How much will be he up by? 0.5 of a second. This could put him up all the way up to P4. If he nails the final sector, this could put him up into the podium positions for qualifying. Now, very low ERS. Let's see what a young Victim can do here. Going down into the final corner. Hits the apex very nicely, hoping for a good exit here. Now, going up the gears, using the DRS and the ERS. Where does he go? It's only enough for P4. Still a great improvement of 4/10. Infinity on his out lap. Now D-Mac finishing his lap. Where can he go with this lap? He goes to P6. Only enough for P6. He did qualify P6 last time out in Austria, but still good effort from him. we will have to see if he can improve that. He's only half a tenth behind the P5 Alpine. We see a yellow flag here, and it's quickly cleared. Maybe just a bit of a moment for a driver. So let's head on board with Justin McGuire in the kick Sauber, now going down the gears, hitting the apex pretty nicely, but going very deep, going in to turn 2, now turn 3, and now going into turn 4, and we see a yellow flag in the back, probably just a driver letting another driver by. But now let's focus on Justin McGuire's lap. We'll be heading on board with him through the whole lap to see what he can do. In the kick Sauber, of course, his teammate, oh, that was a big moment, and he invalidates the lap. Pressure put on him. He did not deliver. He needs to box and put on a new set. But now his teammate, can he deliver? He got P4 in the sprint race just a couple of minutes ago. But what can he do here in this qualifying session? He needs to qualify and get in the top 5 if he wants to have any shot of even a podium. Now, going up the gears on these after this fast corners, 2 seconds up on his personal best. That would only put him out round about P10. He needs to improve. He needs to nail these final 2 sectors. Now on this final of this very important corner, massive speed here, we see a yellow flag in the pits. I hope everything is alright for everyone. Already 2 drivers DNF from the session, apart from one who DNF because he had a quality ban, so that doesn't really count. But now Infinity going with his DRS, 30% ERS left, a lot more than other drivers. He will be gaining a lot more compared to them on this final straight. Now hitting the apex very nicely. Only 3 minutes left in the session. What can he put down? I think this is going to be his last effort that he can do. He will go with this lap to P3. Amazing effort by him to knock out Meshu out of the top 3. Meshu seems to be struggling on pace at the moment, as we see Meshu just ahead of him on track. Maybe we can't see it in the picture yet. We saw it in the end. But yeah, good effort by him to take P3. Hopefully he can fight for the podium in the race. But now, Vasa, maybe on a cooldown lap since he's using none on the battery. Leston Boy invalidated. No one is on the lap at the moment, but a lot of drivers will be starting their laps soon. A lot of drivers going out on out laps. D-Mac, one of them, in P7. All he needs is 2 tenths, less than 2 tenths, and he will be up to P5. Maybe in contention for the win if he can just stay in DRS of Meshu, Infinity, Aiko, or Zero. All these drivers, he just needs to have a clean start. He was a championship contender, but Meshu ended up clinching the title after a very controversial crash back in Austria last time out. We will not be talking about that, but yeah, D-Mac got taken out on lap 1 in turn 10. But now, let's see Jablinski and the Williams, who ended up taking P5 in the sprint race. What can he put down here? He's all the way down in P8 at the moment now, going down with full braking force now on these slow speed corners here. Now to this fast S section. But now Jablinski 6 tenths down. Now Aiko, Zero, and Infinity all in the pits. They won't be setting a lap. This is their final laps. Now Meshu left, the only contender out here. Now he's gonna be finishing his lap. Can Meshu take away pole position? from these drivers now. Going on to the final corner. Can he at least take P3? These are the final laps of everyone. Meshu going up the gears now. More ERS than he had last time. Where can Meshu go with this lap? He goes all the way to only P4. That wasn't enough to improve his position. Only his lap time. Not good enough. We see Young Victim in P5 improving. Actually, he's down by 6 tenths. He was improving at the start, but now he's down. But now the Alpine in P6. Can he improve? But before that, let's see D-Mag, who's improving by 5 tenths. D-Mag can snatch away that P5 here. D-Mag going on to the start-finish straight. Where will he go? Up into P5. He will be in contention for the win if he can drive good now. But now, as he goes into the wall, the Alpine driver 2 times. That was very controversial. But we see 2 qualifying sessions in a row. Zero taking pole position for the Grand Prix qualifying session here. Just behind him is Akahor. Under a tenth behind him, as we can see here. Very close gap, but Zero in the end ended up taking it. And congrats to him. That will be an extra point for him as well. Then Akahor in P2. Infinity in P3, Meshu in P4, D-Mag rounding out the top 5. Then Young Victim, P6, P7, Flame, P8, Harry, P9, Yablinski, P10, Vasa, P11, Curly, P12, Enzo, P13, Beeful, P14, the driver who had a qualify ban, and P15, Leston Boy or Justin McGuire in the Kick Sauber, who had 5 plays grid penalty due to the game being trash, or maybe he actually impeded someone, I don't know, but most of the times it's the game being trash. But now we're gonna be heading underway for the race here under the floodlights in Jeddah for the finale of the season. An amazing season it has been, the only season so far with Tier 2. And a very entertaining one to say the least. So now, going to start this race now. 5 red lights, 0 on pole position here. Now having a pretty good start. But we see a big contact in the back here. What has happened there? A big damage there. And we see some drivers cutting the track. As we see big crashes, we see a virtual safety car. What has happened here? That was a massive crash between a lot of drivers. But we see D-Bag being one of the ones that suffered damage there. That's horrible for him. 2 races in a row he has had horrible starts, and yeah, it's just continuing now. Very sad. A lot of drivers got damaged there. We see the Mercedes of Harry's being one of them. Yeah, very unlucky for D-Mag, but let's hope he can crawl his way back into the top 5, but it will be very hard. As we see another driver get damaged. What are these drivers doing? We see Flame in the back having full red wing damage. But now, the virtual safety car should be out any moment now. Let's see who will have the best reaction times. And I'm not gonna lie, I think some drivers are gonna get a drive-through. But surprisingly, no one got a drive-through. But now, let's see. Going into these fast-speed corners. D-Mag in P6. Let's hope he can stay in the DRS for the sake of him. He has been very unlucky, as we see a big incident back here. Maybe, but now let's see the battle up in the front. D-Mag already 8 tenths behind him. This is horrible for D-Mag, but DRS will be activated now. He just needs to stay in it. So let's hope the best for him. But now we see Retire in the back as another virtual safety car. What is there? We see Flame in the Alpine retiring. This is very controversial. Yeah. Big crashes here. Now I'm definitely expecting someone to get a drive through. It's very hard to keep it in the Delta. Some drivers get caught out by how quickly the Delta can change. And this Delta is on a safety car, which is a GT3 car. Okay, you can imagine how much slower it is than a Formula 1 car. So, but the McLaren is doing half decent in this race. P6, P7 is some good points. Possible strategies we see. Now the safety car, we see the only guy to get a drive-through is down, but we see an overtake going side by side into these fast speed corners. Akahor having to go out really wide and having a big moment, and because of that, there was some contact as the Williams got damaged there as well. Very good for DMAC, but very bad for Infinity, and no, very bad for Akahor, who has had very big moment there trying to go side by side through this fast speed corner. But now the DRS should be enabled for this next lap. It is already enabled right now. That means everyone will be closing the gaps to the drivers ahead of them. DRS train here all the way from P1 to P6. We see some moves happening in the back. We see 4 drivers here battling it out. The 2 Aston Martins going side by side with a Mercedes. But now, going back to the lead pack, nothing is happening there. Let's see what will happen here. Now going 4 wide into this corner, 3 wide. What is very good racing here. Kept it clean. Maybe a bit of going off track there, but no damage for anyone here. Now let's get back to the front here. DMAG only 6/10 behind Jablinski in P5. Yeah, Jablinski has wing damage if I'm not mistaken. Very bad for both DMAG and Jablinski. Yeah, we can see the front end plate missing. But now, going back to the front battle at the top 4. Infinity is into play for this win now. Now, let's see what type, as we see, oh, yeah, just Flame leaving the session now. Let's see the tires for everyone. What tires has everyone opted for? Enzo is on the softs, the only driver on the softs except Curly, who just boxed this lap, and the Ferrari driver now the dead last on the hard compound of tires. But now everyone else on the mediums, probably going for a medium hard. I don't know exactly the strategy on this track. It did just show up on the screen a couple moments ago, but we'll have to see what the drivers opt for. We see Meshu getting the fastest lap. No one going for a move just yet in the top 3. As we see another virtual safety car. Maybe a big incident in the back. It has to be a big incident. Yes! We see a big incident with Harry going off the track. As we see a lot of drivers peeling into the pits as well. These drivers just don't like walls, I guess. Can't give each other space. But this will be helping DMAG, who's up into P5. Something happened with Jablinski, maybe. But DMAG now up into P5, but sadly he's 4 seconds behind the top 4. But top 5 is still a good result. That would be 10 points. But now, the safety car is going out from what I'm seeing from DMAG. He's going foot to the floor. Actually, no, it is not going out at the moment. But we see Enzo getting a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Under virtual safety car has to be a bit embarrassing, but yeah. Now, we see Beeful getting a 3-second time penalty for corner cutting. These drivers just can't keep it clean. It's the virtual safety car. Chill out. But we see Agahor dropping out of 1 second. And we see a drive-through for Curly for speeding on the virtual safety car. But now we have a fight for the win here. Going side by side as Infinity takes P1 for the moment. But Zio will have the better exit. Can he go and retake it? He has the DRS. He's gonna go for the move on Infinity. Infinity doesn't seem to be fighting back. Will Infinity maybe go for a late move down the inside? He seems to be staying back. No one fighting except the top pack. And this should be the most important and the most entertaining fight of this race. Or, or, I mean, of everyone on this race. But now, no DRS on this part of the track, so you see Aiko only 20% on the battery. That will not be good for him. Now, Leston Boy gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. D-Mag already 7.5 seconds behind the top bunch. This is just sad to see, you know, since he does not have the DRS. But now let's get back to the front pack. Infinity has the DRS. Will he try and overtake Zero again, or will he stay back, hoping to fight it out on a later lap? He had a big moment there, so I don't think he's going to be going for a move. But Agahor will be going for a move. He will be trying to overtake Infinity here, but he just does not have the straight line speed. Will Meshu maybe try and go for a move onto Agahor? No, he seems to be staying back, but we have Infinity having a big moment, which opens the door for Agahor. We see a big incident in the back. Beevil spinning and hitting the wall. A full safety car out here. This will save D-Mag's race entirely. I'm sorry for only talking about D-Mag, but yeah, this will save his race fully. He just needs to repair his wing. Please press change your wing. Okay. Let's see. Will he change his wing? Yes, he's changing his wing. Good for D-Mag. But the top pack are not opting to box except Infinity, which will be very good for him actually. He has not lost, he's maybe lost 2 positions or something, but he's going to be in the top pack with fresh heart. He could make it to the end with these tires. This has worked out perfectly for Infinity here. And the top, he could win this. Infinity could definitely take a win here. That would be his maiden win here in VDRL, of course. Missing out on the win back in Bahrain for round 6. Because of some track limits penalties and a big mistake on the final lap, which caused him to drop down to P3. But now this worked out perfectly for D-Mag as well, who's gonna be on the new hards. He just needs to overtake 2 cars, the Williams and Young Victim. If he can get into DRS, he could be also in the play for the win here. Like, he just needs the 2 cars to have a very horrible start, and he could be in the fight. He's on new hards. The top 3 are on old mediums. Well, not too old, but they will have to change their tires again. D-Mag could maybe brought this to the end, just like Infinity, but we'll have to see. We see one driver in the Ferrari getting a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Not good for him. Yeah, not amazing, but one thing I can say, guys, is congrats to Ferrari, because Ferrari are the World Constructors Champions. It's confirmed, like, it's confirmed. They're the World Constructors Champions. Only one Red Bull in this race. Even if he wins it and Ferrari scores 0 points, Ferrari are still going to be fully clear of the Red Bull team. So, amazing to hear for the Ferrari outfit. We see everyone warming their tires for the safety car restart. Okay, so back to the action here. Sorry for that little pause. But now we see disqualified gets Yablinski. What have I missed there? Um, yeah, we see Yablinski and the Williams getting disqualified. This is amazing for D-Mag. Absolutely amazing. And the laps are taking down. His tires aren't wearing. He can bring it into the end. He could get a P1 from all I'm seeing. But what have I seen? Wait. What did I miss? How is Infinity down to P6? D-Mag is all of a sudden, if he just overtakes Young Victim, which Young Victim, maybe he doesn't even have to overtake him if Young Victim can stay in DRS. He's in the fight for the win all of a sudden. Why are the drivers going side by side? Yeah, this is... I... I, I tapped out for... sorry for that voice crack. I tapped out for solid minute. And D-Mag is in P5, Infinity in P6. Yablinski, DSQ, D-Mag can win this race legitly. Because he doesn't have to pit again. He can just bring these tires to the end. He can literally win this race. Of course, Infinity, still a big threat. Young Victim, also a threat. We'll have to see. Safety car should be in this or next lap. I'm probably guessing next lap. Why are they going side by side? We see wing damage for one of the kick Saubers. Safety car in this lap. So now, let's see. Zero leaving it very late, but now he's going foot to the floor. We see some position changing in the back, but that should be an illegal overtake. Can't overtake before the flag. Now, Zero keeps the lead. But let's see what's happening in the back. We see them going side by side. D-Mag and Meshu. D-Mag already trying to overtake the Ferrari driver who was the driver's champion. D-Mag was fighting for the championship with him, even leading the construction. Oh, we see another safety car. What is happening? What is happening? Now this is ruining D-Mag's chances of winning because the other drivers can pit now, but yeah. Little tip, guys, if you're making a league and you have two tiers, maybe don't give tier 2 a street track. Not the best from what I see. That's still D-Mag up into P4. Let's see if the leading drivers are gonna peel into the bits. No, they're staying out. It's very surprising. Now D-Mag definitely has a big chance at winning this race. Of course, Young Victim also. But we see Icicle Mathis was involved in that incident from what I've seen, and he's down out of the top 10 even. Yeah, this is giving D-Mag a huge opportunity to get the season finale win here in VDRL. We see Vasa retiring. Don't know what that was about. Oh! Oh! I think he hit the wall. Yeah. Yeah, do not want to be doing that. Especially under a safety car. But here's Zero, we see him leading the pack. I'm pretty sure he led almost every lap now. Of this race and of the sprint race, Zero seems to be having very amazing pace here at Jeddah. Safety car should be in next lap. We see some drivers switching positions in the back. What has happened there? How? This guy Enzo just got massive wing damage. Again, these drivers seems to be not be able to hold themselves even under the safety car. At this point, they're gonna reach the safety car limit, which is 5 if I'm not mistaken. I don't know how much exactly it is for this game. See them peeling into the pits once again because they got dead. And I was gonna be getting held up. Well, isn't that just lovely? But Meshu still holding strong in P3. Of course, he's on the old tires with Acorn Zero. This is not the best, but maybe they know something better than I do. Maybe they know the strategy, so we'll have to see about that nearing the end of the race. But at the moment, the McLaren pair are looking to get a 1-2 from what I'm seeing. Maybe I'm incorrect, but that's what I'm seeing. And yeah, I don't think Beefle will get P2. I think like he will get overtaken probably. But D-Mac could definitely win this race. He needs to hold his own. His tires are now definitely better than the old mediums. Now we see some position swapping again. Come on, guys. Now the safety car. Let's try something new. Let's watch the safety car from maybe some person like, let's see, Curly in P6. Oh. Yeah, safety car in this lap. Well, so now Zero leading the way again. Will he go very late again, or will he try and go nice and early? Zero leaving it late again. But now, when is he gonna go foot to the floor? He's gonna go now, foot to the floor, pedal to the metal, going. Had an amazing start, but now we see already. Oh, has there been a big shot into the pit lane? But what a massive incident there. But now D-Mag overtaking Meshu for P3. This is amazing for D-Mag. We see another yellow flag in the back there. This is chaos already. We see more cars going side by side. 3 wide, going a big incident there. Even ghosting. This is very unclean. But D-Mac dropping back down into P4. Meshu keeping the podium position for the moment. Infinity already up into P5. Never underestimate him, I guess, but not. Oh! A big crash there with Enzo. And what are these What am I seeing? I'm sorry, but what are these drivers doing? This is funny. Like, they're hitting at each other, and what has happened there? He just went straight on. Um, I can't even put into words what I'm seeing right now. But let's head back to the front battle where D-Mag and Meshu have both dropped out of DRS. And now Infinity trying to go and overtake D-Mag. Going side by side, and Infinity breaking way later and overtaking D-Mag even before the final corner. But now the top two seem to be pulling away. DRS is just enabled now. Meshu needs to push and catch back up if he wants to have any chance of getting at least a P2. We see peeling into the pits one of the racing bulls. Now Meshu needs to push. He's gaining a bit of time, but now he lost a bit on that exit. We see some fighting here. Yeah, bit of chaos in general here. And D-Mag already dropping out of the DRS of Infinity. D-Mag just does not have the pace. Yo, another incident. Curly hit the wall. Just like he did in qualifying. Yeah. Bro, this is a joke. I'm sorry, this is a joke. But now, let's see what Akakor can he try and overtake Zero into turn 1. He has the DRS lap wide open. We see already Infinity overtaking Meshu, but now focus as Akakor stays back. D-Mag so far behind. D-Mag just does not have the pace for anything. But his teammate in P7, decent result for McLaren, but not what they want. Yeah. Yeah. A lot of big incidents. Go on, Vasa. What do you want to say?
Only that this race is chaos, and I mean I did lolly from Creator series, so.
What?
I know that I did lolly from Creator series in Jeddah.
Creator series. I'm a bit lost.
Creator series, you know what I mean.
Okay, but yeah, a lot of chaos this race.
Yeah, it is. But also unlucky race for me. Top 6 will be easily.
Oh, we see another Ferrari going out. DNFing. And Meshu peeling into the pits as well. Yeah, already 6 people DNF'd here.
And 9.
This is crazy.
Yeah.
You see McLaren and the Aston both peeling into the pits. Now this can be Infinity's maiden win here. He's on the hard. He does not have to pit. I think he can make it to the end pretty easily since a lot of this was on the safety car. He just needs to hope there's not another safety car, or that will be very bad for him. But D-Mag could get a podium spot here if he just keeps the pace up. He does not seem to have the pace at the moment. Only 10 more laps for him to secure that podium, but We'll have to see. Already Mesh only 12 seconds behind D-Mag. Uh, yeah. But Messi will be having a strong undercut on Zero and Akahor. Let's see where he will come out if Zero and Akahor do decide to pit now. Are they deciding to peel into the pits? No! This is very good for Messi, who's on the new compound. The new hard tires. He's gaining and gaining. Now D-Mag actually setting personal bests right now, so definitely brought the pace up a bit. Can you mute Vasa?
I might just mute my music. I think now it.
Okay, so we see Agahor, the driver in contention for the win, getting a 3-second time penalty. This is very good for Zero. He could be winning here. Maybe, but I really doubt it. I think Infinity would be taking his maiden win, but we never know. Zero looking to have amazing pace on this track. Now D-Mag setting personal bests, but wait, D-Mag lost a lot of time this lap. Does he have damage? D-Mag has no front wing. What has happened here? Yes, we see another driver DNF. Very entertaining, but I don't know what's happening this race. See another yellow flag. Okay. This is getting ridiculous at this point. But now Akahor, we see him peeling into the pits. Let's see where he comes out. Meshu, right behind D-Mag, now overtaking him since D-Mag does have the wing damage. D-Mag can't do anything. Not with this state in the car. He has to box. This could be a top 5 for Justin Maguire in the Sauber. Very big result for Sauber for the moment. We see Icy Commanders who could be winning this race. But now let's see where Igor, how far ahead is he of Meshu? He's 3 seconds ahead of Meshu. So Meshu just needs to push, and he could maybe be next to Zero when he comes out. We see Meshu gaining a lot of time on Akahor actually. And now Infinity comfortably in P2, and he doesn't have to box again. Infinity maybe having the win in hand for the moment, unless there's a safety car later on in the race. Infinity having a bit of a slide there. No one actually battling at the moment, but Zero peeling into the pits. Let's see where he will come out. Infinity taking the lead of this race. Zero bolting on a new set of softs. That is very surprising. Let's see where he will come out, but regardless, he will have amazing tires. Akahor will definitely undercut him, maybe even Meshu as well. Let's head on board with him. Where will he come out? Just ahead of Meshu. Meshu about a second and a half behind him. But Zero will be on the new soft tires. Very surprising to pit as Meshu gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Now Zero wants to go for all or nothing soft to try and catch up to Infinity to take double wins today. Let's see if he can do it in the end. He will have to push, and Infinity isn't gonna give up either. But now, I wasn't looking, I wasn't paying attention. I'm really sorry. But Zero going up into the lead of this train, at least, with him and Akahor. Now he will try to charge his way up and try and catch to infinity. But there's only 6 laps left. It will be very hard, and he doesn't seem to be gaining that much time for the moment. I really think Infinity has this win in hand. Of course, we see the 2 McLarens in 7 and 8 out of 8 drivers. So, not the best for them, but points are points, I guess. Definitely for Beeful, who's way down in the standings. For D-Mag as well, he is in the fight for P2 in the driver standings, but the driver who's fighting with him isn't attending this race. So that means D-Mag is going to be P2 in the driver standings, and Ferrari are going to be the Constructors' Champions. 2 seasons in a row, actually, they won the Constructors' Championship last time out. And guess who was driving for them? D-Mag, who is in McLaren now, but not in the Constructors' Championship winning team. But Ferrari, the only team in VDRL to have 2 Constructors' Championships titles to their name. Of course, Aston Martin having another one of those, and probably Tier 1 this season. Red Bull will be winning it. The season finale for Tier 1 will be tomorrow if you want to watch that. Now, Akihor already dropped 1.5 seconds behind 0. 0 is pushing, pushing, pushing. He gained 2 seconds that lap. He is pushing hard. Let's see what he can do here in the end. 0 is setting the fastest lap of the race. That will be another extra point on top of his pole point. We see D-Mag overtaking Harry here. Nice move from him to slot up into P6. Now Vasa asking me to help. He wants to help me commentate for the final lap. I don't know. But a lot of incidents this race. Very controversial race. There will be, let's say, a lot of work for the stewards. But no one fighting on track at the moment, so. So now 0 gained another second from while we last time checked. So that he needs to gain like 3 seconds per lap now if he wants to be in the fight for the win. But Infinity seems to have this win. He has the pace. And this strategy, he got blessed by the strategy, and yeah, maybe the other drivers should have also boxed, but they didn't, so. Now 0 only 10 seconds behind Infinity here. Charging his way, lowering the lap times, but I don't know if it will be enough in the end. It will definitely be very close, so stick around for that. Yeah, race has calmed down for the moment. Yeah. Akahor 4 seconds already behind Zero. Zero only 9 seconds back from Infinity, but I just don't think it will be enough in the end. Let's head on board with Zero and see how he's maneuvering the track. As we see a yellow flag, just a second I turn off. Yeah, as we see Leston Boy getting a 10-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. That will be most likely putting Beefle up into P7, but we'll have to see by the end of the race. Now let's head back on board with Zero and see how he's maneuvering the car. He did win the sprint, and he's coming so close to this win here, but his tire strategy gamble from Infinity seems to be paying off. He's going to grab his maiden victory if he doesn't make any major mistakes here. Zero just doesn't seem to have enough pace to catch him. Soft starting to wear out as well now. .131.1. That's faster than some drivers in qualifying, so impressive laps by Zero, but of course he's also on the softs. But there are very old softs. Now 7 seconds behind Infinity. I just don't think it will be enough coming to the end of the race. But let's see, another yellow flag. What has happened here? Big moment maybe for Leston Boy. Let's see the penalties that everyone has. So Lesson Boy with a 13-second time penalty, Beefle with a 12-second time penalty, and the only other drivers to have penalties are Akahor and Meshu, both having 3-second. What is Lesson Boy doing? He's heading into the wall on a straight line. But Akahor and Meshu having both 3-second time penalties. That means Meshu could overtake Akahor. He's only 2 seconds back from him on track at the moment, but there's only 2 laps left. Just a bit over 2 laps left for them. But now going to be heading on to the penultimate lap for Infinity, who seems to have this win in hand. Amazing performance by him so far, but let's not jinx it. Now onto the lap 24 of this race. Very chaotic race, of course. 7 people DNFing out of 15. Imagine how much driver that is. Now only 8 people finishing, maybe even less. Well, let's hope no one else DNFs, but we can never count anything out here in VDRL. We see Infinity getting a 3-second time penalty. This could mean Zero could win. He needs to gain 3 seconds in 2 laps. That's very doable. He's on the soft compound of tires. Zero needs to push now, but I do think Infinity has it in the hand. He just needs to keep the pace up. All he needs to do. Zero, big mistake, and I think that's costing him the win. I think that has got the win guaranteed to Infinity if he doesn't make any major mistakes. So now for the final lap of the race, let's go on board with Infinity and talk a bit about him. Now Infinity catching a lapped car right ahead of him, just lapping, if I'm not mistaken, that is Beefle. So he was a ghosted car since he's lapped. Now Infinity using the last of his battery to go on to the final lap of this race. D-Mac getting a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. He's down in P5, so that won't be changing anything. And Meshu doesn't seem that he's gonna catch Akahor for P3. So this looks like the finishing order. Zero still trying to push on, but he just does not have enough in those tires. Tires have bled out now, and the hards are looking better than the softs. So, Infinity, after this whole season, well, maybe not whole season, but definitely a couple of rounds of trying to win his maiden win, almost winning in Bahrain, but it just wasn't enough in the end due to a couple of driver errors, getting track limit penalties, and bit of a spin on the final lap, which caused him to drop down to P3. Then finishing P3 after penalties in the race before this race in Austria, because Sam in the Red Bull got 15 seconds worth of penalties. Another podium, missing out on his first win there. But now Infinity, heading into the final sector, is looking to win this race and take his maiden win here in VDRL in Tier 2. He's gonna be going onto this final few corners of the track now, going to be celebrating very much for this win. We say yellow flag, but that doesn't matter because Infinity is going to cross the line to be your VDRL season finale race winner. Infinity, congrats to him. And that was an amazing performance by him. Strategic gamble, but it paid off in the end. Then Zero taking P2 just behind him. Amazing try from him, but it just wasn't enough due to his strategy. Now Akehor crossing the line to take a P3 podium for him. Very good result. Meshu, the championship winner in P4. DMAG was hoping some better results here, but still a top 5 is gonna be an alright result. Congrats to DMAG for that, as he's gonna go on the final corner now, going on to the start finish straight, slowing down to celebrate his final race in VDRL, at least for this season. We see a big incident in the back with DMAG and DMAG's teammate and Leston Boy as he spun again. What is happening here? Big incidents, but Harry crossing the line to take P6. Leston Boy is going to cross the line any moment to take P7, but what is Beefle doing? Did he retire? No. Okay. I was gonna say, it's the last lap. Don't retire. Now, Leston Boy, the second Sauber, finishing it out in P7 as he spun on the... Yeah, Beefle maybe gonna be trying to do some donuts here. We can see him trying to do some donuts. Maybe he doesn't have enough front wing to do that, so he finishes in reverse. Leston Boy also finishing in reverse. And that was it for your VDRL season finale. Big congrats to Infinity for taking his maiden win here in VDRL. And now we will be doing the post-race interviews here. And I would kindly ask everyone to mute themselves until they are asked to unmute themselves for their interview. Wait, let me just really quick catch the results page.
Hello.
So now let's go on to the interviews. Do we have the race winner Infinity in the call? Infinity, can you hear me?
Yeah.
So, strategic gamble, but it definitely worked out in the end. You taking your maiden win here in VDRL and to close out the season, that must be an amazing feeling. Take us through your race.
I mean, I don't really know what happened because of the safety car glitch, and it just put me at the back. I knew I had to try something to win.
Yeah, well, either way, the safety car glitch didn't stop you, and you ended up winning your maiden win. How do you feel about that?
I mean, I felt good that I won, but I felt bad for Jablinski that he just got disqualified. Unlucky for him.
Yeah, of course, we know this game, maybe EA isn't the best, but either way, congrats to you on your win. Amazing drive by you, and thank you for your interview.
Thank you.
Now we will be heading on to the P2 finisher of Zero. Can you hear me?
Sir.
So Zero,
Hello, hello.
you had amazing pace the whole every single session, took pole in the sprint, won the sprint, took pole in the main race, but just wasn't enough after your strategy since Infinity. Yeah, maybe got a bit lucky, but either way, that was an amazing result for you. How do you feel?
Uh, I guess just tired after all the safety cars.
Yeah, we saw.
Like, yeah, halfway through the race, we only had safety cars, so my tires were at 11%. Yeah, it was a weird race. Too
Yeah,
many crashes.
yeah, a lot of safety cars, 7 people DNFing in the end, but still, you had amazing pace. You got the fastest lap and pole position, which will be 2 extra points for that.
Yeah,
So, congrats on your P2 and thank you for your interview.
thank you.
Now, heading on to the P3 finisher, if I'm not mistaken, is Ekahor.
Hello.
Ekahor. So, um, we're fighting for the win for most of the race, but in the end, just wasn't enough. Zero bolted on a set of softs, a bit of a different strategy to you. Maybe take us through what you thought of that.
Yeah, I mean, as Zero said, I was a little bit tired after the whole bunch of safety cars and a little bit of a shithousery. But yeah, I mean, when we was fighting with Zero, my tires like it felt like it gave out a little bit. So I didn't want to go any more laps because I knew I was losing time, and also I didn't want to risk maybe a DNF. So I just went out of the pits and yeah, went on the hards, which was not the not the worst choice, but also not maybe the best. So I mean, yeah, it was deserved for everyone. Infinity, I came from last to P1, which is crazy. Like, uh, big up him. So yeah, I think everyone deserves their like finishing position. So yeah.
Yeah, very eventful race and definitely a very chaotic race, but yeah, like you said, everyone does deserve their positions. Maybe more, some of them more than others, but definitely congrats to you for your podium and good way to close out the season.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for your interview. Now, Meshu, can you hear me?
Yes,
So, Meshu, take us through your race. You were in the fight for the win for quite a while, but tried the undercut since you did drop back a little bit and didn't work in the end as you would like it. P4 in the end. Take us through your race.
not much to say about it. I just raced. Didn't care much about the race at all. Yeah, the undercut. I just pitted because the tires not really tried to do the undercut. So yeah, just raced at all.
Yeah, but also amazing result for Ferrari. You are the constructors champions. It would be very hard for Red Bull to win there in the end. Even if Zio would have won, it wouldn't have been enough since he didn't have a teammate. So congrats on the constructors championship and a pretty good result to close out the season. And hope to see you stronger next season.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for the interview. Now we will be heading on to the P5 finisher of DMAG. Can you hear me?
Yeah, hello.
Yeah. So DMAG, I was rooting for you to win. If you will watch back the commentary, most of the race you got very unlucky with some damage. I didn't quite catch how you got that red wing damage. Maybe you could take us through that.
Yeah, obviously. Uh, it. I just had a bit of skill issue. Like the past couple of races, but I don't know how I was under pressure, but I was under pressure by nobody. Just under pressure by myself. You know, I was thinking about the future, but I wouldn't think about what was happening then in the moment. Yeah, I spun it. I put too much throttle after the first turn. And yeah, got the damage, but
Yeah, well, you got damage. You were actually, in my opinion, in contention for the win after that safety car glitch. But yeah, still a P5. A top five at least. You know, last race you DNF'd and not the best results the past couple of races. So maybe a bit of a better mood this time since it is a top five and all right way to close out the season. And your final words for the last words of season 3 from you.
Yeah. Thank you guys for a good season. Hopefully next season will be good. We have a lot of things planned for the future, so just stay tuned and thank you.
Yeah, and thank you for your interview. Now we will be heading on to the P6 finisher of Harry. Are you here? And can you hear me? So I am seeing that Harry isn't here. So Justin McGuire, can you hear me? Or Lesson Boy?
Yep, I can hear you. Yep.
So in the end, a P7 finish. That very amazing result considering you didn't have the best last couple of races. Take us through your race.
Well, I've got to admit, it was probably just luck. If I didn't get that 3 second penalty, I probably, maybe could have got one position higher, but that's what it is, isn't it? I got from wing damage on the, T4, I think it was, and that just slowed me down. But yeah, it was probably just luck. And I just thought at the end, might as well, last race of the season, just reverse it over the line. No one's behind me. I'm not going to lose any positions, so yeah.
Either way, even if it was luck, it's still a P7 in the end. Points are points. Congrats on those points.
Yeah.
And any final words?
Well, thanks for a season. Hopefully, I'm going to come back stronger. Probably not. And if you think about racing, please, honestly, just don't be dirty. It just ruins it for everyone. But yeah, thanks for season. Can't wait for season 3.
Season 4. Well, yeah, I have to agree with those words of keeping it clean. And thank you for your interview, Justin.
It's alright.
So now let's head on to the P8 finisher of Beeful in the second McLaren. Can you hear me? So, last of all of the finishers, but points are points, like I said to Justin. Decent result for McLaren, of course, a P5 and a P8. Take us through your race.
The first laps was just absolutely just a big mess. I'm pretty sure it was 2 safety cars in the first 5 or 6 laps. 2 virtual safety cars just really ruined my race. There was a few incidents that obviously were just a little dirty play from young victim just trying to hit me a load spun, but we got back and I've scored points as well. So I take them any day.
Yeah, points are definitely points, and P8 is 4 points, not that little. So I will ask you for your final words before season 4.
Next season, race better and up the raft.
What? Excuse me? I maybe didn't hear you the best. Can you repeat that?
Up the raft.
Well, thank you for the interview, and we will be heading on to the final 2 drivers in the voice chat, which we'll be starting with Curly. Now, Curly, you didn't finish, but it was P11 in the end. Take us through your race. There was let's see, not the cleanest couple of battles between a lot of the drivers, so tell us what happened.
Yeah, honestly, this race was honestly mediocre. Like, overall, this was most likely a demolition derby, not an F1 race. Not an F1 league race, I should say. So, I mean, what should I say? Like, no comment. Like, the glitches, safety car restart, I'm on P6 behind Beeful. He has a 6 second time penalty and he knows it. I don't need to fight him. No risks at all. And next thing he does, slams me into the wall, does my front wing, I go into box. I'm mentally rattled, change the front wing, DNF'd, absolutely brilliantly, close the game, go to my room. Like, I just
can't believe what just happened in front of my eyes. I've done myself in the same corner, in the same weekend, twice.
Yeah,
Like,
saw you in one of the qualifying sessions and then in the race. Yeah,
yeah.
it isn't the
After
best.
this, I'm actually questioning myself in my VDRL future. Like, I'm questioning if I'll get F125. Like, I'll see if I won't participate next season, guys. I want to thank you for getting me in participation for this league. This is my first ever league. Want to thank you for everything you've done for me, and it was a pleasure to be in your league from the start I've joined. But if I will join, if I will be in next season, you will see a completely new driver, a driver who will compete maybe for the top of the table.
Yeah, well, thank you for your wise words, definitely, and let's hope we can see you next season, and hope we can see you at the front of the field. And yeah, thank you for your interview, and
Thank you.
we'll be heading on to the second Sister Racing Bulls driver of Vasa. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
So you DNF'd, if I'm not mistaken, P14 in the end. Take us through
P13.
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 Yeah, so take us through what happened. That was a very chaotic race.
It was, I mean, at the end, of course, I went too close to the wall. On the inside, under the safety car, where Lando crashed, so that's how I DNF'd. And it was very chaotic because for 3 laps, or two, was twice virtual safety car. Then we did one clean lap, and the safety car came.
Yeah.
So that was chaotic.
Yeah, maybe a bit of coordination between you and your teammates since you guys both DNF'd on the same corner. But either way, not the best result, but we will hope to see you back next season and stronger. And really,
You will.
just some final words from you to close out the season. You will be the last driver we will be talking to, so just some final words.
Um, let's go with the VDRL. Let's continue on this. Let's continue and let's fight next season for the championship.
Well, thank you for your words, and let's hope to see you next season. And that will be it for the interviews and for VDRL in season 3. At least for tier 2, we will be having the tier 1 race tomorrow, which will be hopefully commentated by DMAG. Only 4 points separating me and Quolis in the drivers championship, so that will be an exciting race tomorrow. And thank you everyone for watching this race. It's been a pleasure to commentate, and we will see you next season for tier 2 and tomorrow for tier